Bom dia. So, here today is what will be the final entry of this vlog, or at least the final entry of the vlog that will actually be in Lubango. In just a few hours, I'm going to be heading to the airport to Luanda, from Luanda eventually back to Canada. And so that will make exactly 1 year since I arrived in Angola. And 1 year is all that I intended to serve. That was the plan from the beginning, to spend 1 full year, assuming that my employers would permit me, and they did. I'm so grateful that they gave me the year, and that my job appears to be still waiting for me when I return to Canada. That relieved a lot of stress for me, I would say. It is comfortable knowing that more or less I can go back to life in Canada without any great hiccups. It was, of course, a really odd time to be leaving Canada because of the pandemic. At the time that I left, it had been more than a year since I had spent any appreciable amount of time in person with friends, family, or even co-workers. But now I've had 1 year here in Lubango, and I know that many people want me to talk about what exactly I've learned in my year here and what my future in Angola is going to be. I really wish that I could tell you. I have a feeling I'm not going to be able to explain what happened this last year until I'm back in Canada. Because even now, I can tell you what happened, but I can't explain the significance of what happened. I think I need a little bit of distance and remoteness from the events themselves in order to contextualize what this last year has meant to me. So what did happen? A lot of things happened in this last year. I didn't do as much in the library as I thought I was going to, but I did do some work in the library, and I made some advancements for Ishtel's library program, which was good. And as well, I taught English, which when I first came out I thought was going to be a sideline. It turned out to be the principal thing that I did as a missionary here. I taught English in my house, where I am right now. I taught English at Ishtel, eventually 2 different classes at Ishtel. I taught English at the hospital, CML. I taught English here in Lodge, in a nearby home for people suffering from alcohol abuse. So what seemed like a thing that, well, I might teach English, if I have a bit of spare time. Instead, it became the thing that I did. And I took on various website duties. I am now responsible for the CML webpage, among others. And fortunately, all the internet duties that I have are things that I can continue to do in Canada, so I will continue to be involved in Angola, even while not physically here. So, I guess outside of the work that I did, the other things that happened, they helped me make sense of whether or not I could hack it as a missionary. It was a question that I had at the time that I left Canada, was whether I would actually be able to handle being a missionary in another country. Because on all those previous trips that I made here, I was a guest of my aunt and uncle. I stayed in their home, and that took care of an awful lot of things for me. They provided a roof over my head. They provided food. They did my laundry. it was a really simple way to live. But this time I had to live in a place by myself, and we did have some difficulty arranging my lodgings when I first got here. I had to buy my own food, cook my own meals, clean my own house. And that might all sound like small stuff to you, but everything has a little bit of extra difficulty when you're in a different culture and you're not 100% confident in your grasp of the language. But I managed to succeed in that, and so that was one great discovery that I made this last year, is that I can handle the day-to-day living here. I am not at this point so eager to get back to Canada so that I can escape the squalor of Lubango. Far from it. I mean, frankly, I don't have a great yearning to go back to Canada. It has become so comfortable and easy here, just following my regular routines, that I feel I could stay here in Lubango indefinitely. I mean, it might be nice to go back to my house where I do not have neighbors who play loud bass rumbling music at 11 o'clock at night. Okay, yes, I will appreciate living in quieter surroundings. And it will be nice to live in a home that has real insulation in the walls, so that when it gets cold, you don't feel it all the way through. In case you're wondering why I, a white guy in Africa, am wearing a sweater, that's because indoors it does get really cool, because the houses do not hold heat very well. But what have I really missed about Canada? I mean, I was able to even continue meeting my church every week thanks to their online services. I had regular discussions with a prayer partner and with my parents using video messaging services. So what was I really deprived of in the last year? I mean, what, dill pickle potato chips? I don't know that there's anything in Canada that I'm desperate to get back to. I'm sure that there are plenty of things that once I'm exposed to them again in Canada, I'll go, oh, that's very nice. It's good to see or experience this thing again. But I truly became comfortable over here, and I don't know how easy it's going to be for me to readjust to Canada after being away for so long and leaving in the midst of the pandemic when things were already a little unusual. I don't know quite how things are going to be when I return to Calgary, so we will see. I guess overall, the most important thing from this last year were the relationships that I made. That's one thing that I can point to with crystal clarity. The thing that makes it difficult to leave Lubango now are the people whose lives have become important to me. That it is difficult to think that I'm not going to be seeing people like Eremita, Kalweu, Will, Nariu, Fernando, Josue, Serafin, Elias. That after all the many hours we spent together, it could be a considerable amount of time before I see them in person again. And even if I were to come back, I might never be able to reassemble that old class of English students. I mean, I got to the point where I was making them coffee every Monday, bringing a giant urn of coffee to the classroom, along with cups and sugar and powdered milk, And then I also developed a thing on Fridays where I went out and bought packages of cookies and sodas for them. So yeah, I cared a lot about them. I do care a lot about them. And it is strange to think that I'm not going to see them, not in just a couple days or in maybe a week or two, but at the bare minimum I'm not going to see them for months, if that. As well, there were a lot of great relationships that I made with my fellow missionaries here. Many were people who I knew from previous trips, others people that I only knew in passing and got to know better, and then a number of people who were relatively new to Angola and that I met for the very first time here. We made some very good friendships in the course of the last year, and I know some of them I'm going to be in touch with again as time goes on. So as I say, I can recall for you what happened, and in fact I kept a small journal book day by day the entire time that I was here, so I can even cite you the day of the week in which certain things occurred, but I can't really explain the significance of this last year yet. I can only point to the lives that touched mine and mean so much to me now. As to whether I am going to come back as a missionary and when and for how long, well, I mean, I have a visa for Angola now that is good until May of next year. And it's so difficult to get visas here. I do feel like I should use it sometime before next May, just, get my money's worth out of that thing. But if I come back, will it just be like, come renew the visa, then leave again? Or come back and stay longer? I know that it's possible now. I have a much better idea of what my day-to-day in Angola will be in the future if I return. That's going to depend on conversations with other people, and for that I strongly do need the support of my friends to help me discern what has happened in the last year and what sense to make out of it. I'm certain I'm not done with Angola. Beyond that, vamos ver. Well, thank you so much. When I started out with this vlog, which my friend Jaden asked me to do, he seemed to ask it more or less at a whim. I thought originally, well, just that one video explaining my trip over here would be nice, and maybe I would find time to do some others. I thought maybe I'd do 10 videos in the course of the year. It would all depend how busy I was. But once I happened upon that idea for making junk food videos, the number of videos that I made kind of exploded, and you've noticed, particularly leading up to my exit, I've been doing a lot of these videos because I knew my time was almost up, and if I wanted to talk about things that were happening here, I only had so many more weeks in which to get them done. Thank you, therefore, for watching these videos. And if you happen to be waiting on the other side in Calgary, then I will be seeing you very shortly. Alright? Ciao for now.